Well, welcome again to Spilling the Tea and Studio D, I guess the road show.
Road show.
If you had an antique clock, we would praise it and tell you,
Yeah.
I could probably pull out a couple things.
Yeah. And, hey, we can pull some stuff out there. That's for sure. Well, very honored to be back on the Hot Springs School District campus, and very honored this morning to have, I don't know what your official title is, right, but Amy Bramlett Turner. I hope I didn't mess that up.
That's good.
That's usually my gig.
That's
I
a
usually,
lot. It's
I
a
usually
lot.
screw up
He
somebody.
screws up all the names, so
Not-
that's a good thing.
I gave you
98% of the
many
time.
names,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
I started asking before we got started, say, you get on the name? Yeah.
And so I know you do tons of things here, but what is your official title if you had to nail it down?
I think that I'm the dance director for all 7th through
Gotcha.
12th grades.
Okay.
And then I'm also our secondary arts coordinator. So
Okay.
that means I support and advocate and schedule everything that is art, band, choir, dance, theater, orchestra, and AV.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
you
my
are
main
busy.
role is the dance director.
I got you. Well, it's funny about so I have a radio television degree, but to go back and to do oral comm, which at that time that was my end to education, right? I had that as a minor kind of. But when I went back to certify as a teacher and all that, I had to take drama, all that stuff. So, I mean, and bear in mind, like I said, this is career too. So I'm a good probably anywhere 10 to 12 years older than most folks in the class, right? So I'm taking drama 1, drama 2,
it.
directing 2, had to direct the play and all that good stuff. And actually, the first job that I got after I got certified was an assistant football coach, but directed a school play because we had a teacher that was there at Jessville, been there 35 years. And she was one of those that, I mean, really and truly life revolved around her. And I had to teach a class in her class because we were short. And they'd basically taken a section of oral comm away from her. So I'm doing that in her class during her prep time while she sat at her desk, right? So she called me up.
No pressure.
She calls me up and says, "Hey, I need you to do one thing." And I said, "What's that?" And she said, "We hadn't had a play here in 15 years. I understand you have that on your license, and I want you to direct it." I said, "Yes, ma'am." So we found a little one-act play called The Liberated Cinderella.
I
and
love
did
it.
it.
Yeah.
She probably thought she was going to get you.
Yeah.
You were going to
Yeah.
flop.
And she did the coolest thing, though. As she was cleaning out that year, she came and found me and hands me this. I mean, it's something this thick. And she said, "This is a play that I wrote in college." She said, "I don't have any family."
Cool.
And said, I think you'd. I mean,
Aw,
she
that's
said, "You can
neat.
throw it in the trash when I leave, or you can keep it."
Yeah.
So I kept it. So,
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, it
That's
was pretty
really
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So enough about me. We're here to talk about you.
This
So-
is the Darren Show.
Yeah, exactly.
The lead character.
Yeah, that would be the D in Studio D, as they say. So I don't know. Welcome to
All comes together.
welcome to my world.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So being with dealing with all the arts, I mean, obviously you probably have a different background than I would say 90% of the teachers, right?
Oh, yes. So my degrees are in ballet and modern dance, and then I have a master's degree in dance education specifically. And I might get a doctorate one day, but I'm going to wait
Right.
till my kids get a little older.
Uh-huh.
But just because I can,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from here, so I graduated from Hot
awesome.
Springs.
Yeah, shout out,
class.
yeah. Mhm.
That is-
I'm an alum.
Right.
My life is very full circle because I danced here, danced growing up
Right.
in studios and such, and then went to Texas Christian University
Okay.
and got my 2 BFAs there, and then
Right.
I danced on cruise ships and
Wow.
different tours and things,
Yeah.
and picked up a lot of amazing experiences.
Yeah.
Just incredible to be able to get paid to work
Right.
around the world, right?
Yeah.
And do what you love.
Right.
So then I needed surgery on my foot, and so I came home, and as I was waiting for the surgery, I was called, and our elementary school that has a dance program, because we have
Right.
dance K-12. We're one of
Wow.
I think
Yeah.
we're only one of 3 schools in the entire state that have dance K-12.
Wow.
But I think there's 12 dance programs in the whole state of Arkansas now. For high school level, and they had a teacher going on maternity leave, and they
Gotcha.
said, "Hey, come come just teach and,
Yeah.
And I said, no, I'm too young for that. And I'm waiting for my surgery. It was also Nutcracker season, which is,
wow.
that's
Yeah.
a season for
Sure.
ballerinas.
Yeah.
So I was doing a couple Nutcrackers because even though I was hurt, I was like, well, I can do
Yeah.
a couple Nutcrackers. I got to
Right.
live, right? So I was a Sugar Plum Fairy for
Yeah.
a couple places.
Right.
I said, so I don't have time to do that. And they were like, well, just come and talk. And so I went in on Monday, and it's my alma mater. So I'm like, okay, I'll go.
Yeah.
So I went in and I saw the kids in the studio, and just that idea of bringing dance education to students who may or may not ever get that chance.
Right.
Absolutely.
That just hit,
Aw.
it hit me hard, and especially doing it in a place that I call home.
Sure.
And so I said, okay.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
It's
So
what you're
that was
supposed to be
like-
doing.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So it was for
Yeah.
2 or 3 months, and so
Right.
I came, and even in my boot after I had my surgery, I came.
Yeah.
I was at that was at Oaklawn when it was the performing arts school. So while I was there, they said, well, we're also going to be looking for a 712 dance director, and
Oh,
I said,
wow.
I'm way too young for that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's my retirement job,
Yeah.
y'all.
Yeah.
Like when I'm like old and like 40,
Right.
back,
Yeah.
back then.
Back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not old now, but it was then.
Yeah, it was then.
And
yeah.
so I said no, and at the same time I felt like I was being called home.
Sure.
I had missed a couple Christmases, a couple
Yeah.
Thanksgivings. My
Yeah.
brother graduated. Those big events you don't get to
Yeah.
Sure.
leave the boat or leave
right.
the tour.
Right.
And so I missed those things, and so I thought, okay, I'll give it a year,
Yeah.
and I'll see how it is. And so I started it, and
Yeah.
there were some hard times because I think I brought a different culture, a different climate, a different expectations,
Right.
and so that took a minute to build.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
but I saw the potential, and I told myself, okay, if I don't see the potential by the end of the year,
Right.
and if I don't have a vision, then
Yeah.
I'll go
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
that.
Right.
I also met my husband,
Yeah.
at that point, and so I thought, okay, this is the God thing. This is
Right.
where I'm meant to be.
Absolutely.
So
Sure.
That was 10 years ago.
that is so
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, and the thing about that is, it's kind of like, I'll be honest. When I went back and decided, kind of like you're saying, through radio, I was exposed to Red Ribbon Week, those kind
All
of
those
things.
things, yeah.
And so, like you say, you feel that pull, you get in there, and one of the first things that I did, I found out there was a grant back then. Again, there was, I think, one other school in the state that had a television broadcast. So I stumbled upon a grant, had all the right stuff on my paper to get what they called a day trade certification, but it was kind of weird outside looking in kind of thing, because you bring the worldly perspective to the brick and mortar of
Absolutely.
schools sometimes, and
Yeah.
it just takes a minute.
And I think too, it takes, especially with arts teachers, I think there are teachers who teach art and like they're there for to build the kids, but then there's artists that are, they're trained to be artists,
Right.
and so
Yeah.
to change that. Just that mindset of how to teach art
Yeah.
as an artist, and I think that's where you find in the middle there's teaching artists.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
because you have to realize that we're here to educate the whole child.
Right.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
They have to read. They have to know.
Yeah.
Right.
They have to
Right.
be in math class. They have to understand history. So I think as a dance director, it's my job to find out how I can teach my discipline to
Right.
hold the kids to expectations, so they learn that accountability, but also to give them a place of belonging.
Absolutely.
Because not everybody can be on the cheer team or the
Right.
football
Right.
team, or
Right.
that's not their thing. But the performing arts, we can find you a place.
Yeah.
It might not be center stage. It might be up in
Right.
the booth. It might
Sure.
be backstage. It might be
Yeah.
directing.
Right.
But we will find you a place if you want to
Yeah.
be here.
Well, it just opens up so many opportunities
absolutely,
for kids.
yeah.
And your background, I mean, they
Yeah.
know you've
Yeah,
been through it, you've done
absolutely.
this. It
Yeah.
Yeah,
brings
you
a lot
got a
of.
little bit of street cred.
You do.
A
You
little
do.
bit, but
Yeah.
this I've been here now. I've just been the teacher, right?
Right.
When I first got here, I was like, "Oh, that's the teacher that was on cruise ships.
Uh-huh.
That's the professional dancer." And like a lot of times, I would perform in the Nutcracker, and I would have some other adults in the building bring my students to come see me
Right.
as the Sugar Plum Fairy.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm a retired Sugar Plum.
Ah.
I got
And
you.
so, like, my current students, they haven't seen that. But
Right.
this year, they did get a little taste.
Yeah.
We had our Sugar Plum Fairy was an alum.
Okay.
Because we do a hot cocoa nutty nutcracker, which
Right.
is its own thing now.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's amazing. And so was going to bring in an alum to be our Sugar Plum Fairy, and she couldn't get here for the first show.
Oh, wow.
So you had to fill in.
So I did. I got on stage with my students.
Had to dust
In a
off the old
tutu.
dancing shoes.
I mean, the point shoes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah. So that they did get a little taste of me
Yeah.
being on stage, and
Yeah.
that was really, it was probably more special for my own children.
Sure.
Because I hadn't done one. I retired from my point shoes
Right.
3 years ago. So
Yeah.
my daughter hadn't. My daughter's 3, and so my daughter hadn't seen me in a tutu and point shoes and a
Yeah.
crown. You know, all
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
so cool.
up here, and so it was special for her, but it was also to be on
Yeah.
stage with my students and to
Yeah.
the Sugar Plum Fairy brings them on.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they're looking at me like,
Yeah.
and I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't tell them, and
Yeah.
so they were very surprised that morning, and that was cool. But before
Yeah.
that moment, I'm just the mean old dance
Oh,
teacher.
yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
cool. I'm not young and
Right.
hip anymore.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, Darren makes fun of me because I'm random all the time, but I mean, I think what would be cool for the podcast is if we could get you to teach Darren a ballet move.
No.
I mean,
Oh, come on,
Well, let me tell
Darren.
you-
Well, let's just say this. She is a retired B team dancer
Yeah.
and dance sponsor at some
Yeah,
point, right?
I
So-
really think it would. I really
No.
think that
No.
the crowd would love it.
There's
All
not
of
an-
our viewers would
it's
love to see you
listen,
do a ballet
it's
move.
Yeah.
just
There's
fifth
not
on
enough
out.
money in the world. See, I mean, I
there you
can-
go. Look,
That's
we
about
got
it.
We got it. We got
Do
it.
it, Darren.
Right
Do it.
Got
there.
it.
See,
There you go.
that's
This
it.
is first.
Yeah.
That's fifth.
First
Yeah.
and fifth. What's that all
Because
about?
let me tell you about my 25. I just
That's
want you
more
to be
like
a good role model.
touchdown. Jesus.
Well, yeah, but a little shoulders down.
Okay, shoulders
Ribs
down.
together,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
see, yeah.
Because of my 200 kids in my dance program now, there
Right.
are 25 boys.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
And that's the only Miss Pritch is Miss Alexis Pritch. She
Mm-hmm.
teaches our 7th and 8th grade dancers, and we made a boys only class, and that has made all the
wow.
difference.
Yeah,
in
I
the
bet
world.
it does at that age,
But
right?
Because it's just intimidating
Sure.
walking into a room full of
Yeah.
females
Oh,
that
yeah.
are you're like,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure if I'm supposed to be here, and so
Yeah.
we made a boys only class,
Yeah.
and I'm working on a grant for them because golly, they're expensive. They can't
Yeah.
wear they don't wear the same costumes as the
right.
girls.
Right.
Right.
But they are the trailblazers, and
Yeah.
we have we have about 24 right now.
Oh, yeah.
So that's been the biggest number since I've been here.
Yeah. Well, and you alluded to it earlier, but that the whole part of finding a slot for some kids that don't belong
Mm-hmm.
or feel like they don't belong. I shouldn't say they don't belong. They do. But yeah, that's kind of a neat piece of that.
Of course.
Or,
Yeah.
or to find what you're supposed to be doing on this
Yeah.
planet. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like I just think back when I was in school, and
Yeah.
a lot of our schools the kids don't have that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I
Yeah,
think
and
it's
like
just amazing.
Right.
because we're one of the only programs in Arkansas,
Sure.
and a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
people,
really cool.
when they say, "Oh, you're
Right.
a dance teacher," and
Yeah.
they assume that it's a dance team, and
Yeah.
I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's great, that I
Yeah.
love it,
Yeah.
but that's not what we do.
No.
It's just a little different. It's
So,
more of like a.
so I guess that
studio
is a
setting.
good question. I mean, you don't are you a T-stepper person?
I'm not.
Okay.
I took them over when I first got here because they needed somebody, and
Gotcha.
so I had a vision for an elite group of dancers.
Gotcha.
And I worked with them, but it just wasn't what they wanted to do.
Right.
And meanwhile, I had these younger ones that were just eating up ballet and modern and tap and jazz, and they wanted to do that, and that's my background. And so I had them for a couple years, and then I gave them to the next sponsor that was so eager to have them, and so I'm
Right.
like, good, you go, girl,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna do this. So we have what we call the Hot Springs Dance Troupe.
Yeah.
We
Award
just,
winning. Let's
Award,
throw-
it is,
throw
yes,
that in
yes,
there. Yeah.
award winning, and we just performed at the National Consortium for State School Boards Association.
Oh, wow.
We did that
Okay.
in February.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We went to Dallas to
Okay.
perform, and we're one of 4 groups chosen across the United States.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was pretty
That is,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Um,
really cool.
And we've been performing. When I first started, we founded it in 2015, and in 2016, I had one of my old employers
Right.
who had employed me to go on this performance tour.
Yeah.
She said, "You got to bring your girls," and I said, "I'm in a public school system. Like, you take like
Yeah.
pre-professional
Right.
level people,
Right.
and I love my kids, and we have
Right.
heart, but I don't know about all that."
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And it's gonna cost like $50,000, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all about the grants and raising
Yeah.
money. Like, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong.
Right.
We're funding. We're
Right.
bringing
Yeah.
in the funding,
Yeah.
but
Right.
that's a different.
That's a
That's
different level.
That's another level.
That's
Yeah,
another
yeah.
And
level.
so she said, "Well, keep working with your girls and
Right.
send me a video, and
Yeah.
we'll see what we can do." And so I did, and that was in 2018. We took 13 dancers and
Wow.
one manager to Europe, and we performed in Austria, Germany, and Italy.
Oh,
We
wow.
raised $50,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so we got there. In 2021, we were supposed to take the second generation,
Right.
but COVID.
Sure.
Right.
And so we went in 2022, and we
Right.
took 11 dancers and
Gosh.
managers there.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And then now I'm, every time we get back, it's like June 30th. So July 1st, I just start fundraising again.
Right.
And so we raised, with COVID, it was hard for the
Sure.
second group. We only got to like 46,000 because we lost so many fundraising
Oh, yeah.
opportunities.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the district helped us out, and
Right.
they got us the rest of the way there.
Yeah.
And so we could take that generation of dancers. So now we're working on generation 3, and we start paying next month.
Yeah.
So we're about $20,000 short right now.
Yeah.
And so we're
Candace can write that check.
yeah.
yeah.
I
So
wish.
anybody
I
out there?
wish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's really inspiring though,
Yeah.
because I know that I take them to perform. Like we performed with Arkansas Learning Through the
Right.
Arts the other day.
Right.
We guested at Wednesday Night Poetry, just
Yeah.
Wherever we can. The Martin Luther King prayer breakfast, like we try to
Yeah.
get out into the
Sure.
community
Yeah.
to let people know what we're doing,
Right.
Because these kids, and now I have a boy going, and so these kids, they're not only training to
Yep.
be able to hang with those
Right.
pre-professional level
Right.
dancers,
Yeah.
but they're fundraising too
Yeah.
all the
Well-
time, and it's year round. We
Yeah.
don't have a dance season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what an
Yeah.
incredible opportunity, because I'm sure at some point there's probably kids that hadn't ventured much more out of the state, let
No.
alone
Or Hot
Oh.
Springs.
or Hot
Yeah.
Springs.
Yeah, because we're fundraising to get them passport money.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gotcha.
yeah.
You name it, we
Right.
have we
Yeah.
have fundraised
Yeah.
for it. You name it, and I have sold it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have
Yeah.
written for that grant, and
Yeah.
I can, because dance is an athletic form and an artistic form. We're
Right.
really eligible for
Right.
different kinds of grants, and
Yeah.
so I do a lot of grant writing.
Yeah.
That's good.
We also partner with a lot of businesses like Oaklawn,
Sure.
Racing. We are in the infield whenever it's
Okay.
open. We
Yeah.
run the kids zone,
Okay,
where
gotcha.
the bouncy houses
Yeah,
are and
sure.
face painting. We're
Right.
there every Saturday.
Wow.
But
Wow.
it's been raining.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
every time they call me and it's raining, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's money we're not getting, y'all.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we're praying for good weather this Saturday for
Yes.
Derby Day.
Right.
Yes.
Because we need to be out there raising some money, because
Right.
we got about 20,000 to go.
Who sparked it for you as far as dance? I mean, somebody along the way had to make
Yeah.
a difference and say,
So
Yeah.
many people,
Right.
but my first dance teacher was actually a jazzercise teacher. Her name
Gotcha.
was Kay Fleshner,
okay.
and I went to a birthday party, and I actually ended up teaching her daughter later, which
Oh,
was
wow.
such a full
Yeah.
circle.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, my life is
Yeah.
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 full of
Yeah.
circles.
Yeah.
But I went to a birthday party, and we were in at Jazzercise, and she said,
Right.
"You need to get this girl in dance."
Yeah.
And my big sister, had been telling my parents that because we were putting on shows at home, and
Right.
I don't think I ever saw dance before
Right,
that moment.
yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't
Yeah.
go to the ballet.
Sure.
Like, we just didn't, and so. That was kind of the moment that I met Andrea Perkowski, and another full circle. She
Right.
now teaches our Wednesday ballet class that is free for any
Okay.
7th through 12th grade
Yeah.
dancer, just to improve their technique.
Right.
And that's what makes our point program
Sure.
possible.
Yeah.
So because you have to take so many days a week of ballet to
Right.
be eligible and strong enough with alignment and all the things.
I could
for points.
He's
Yes.
got it.
Yes,
He's got it.
listen, you're- 2 more classes.
Okay. Okay.
Two times a week.
Yeah.
C minus.
So so we offer. Andrea Perkowski was the one, and she now comes and teaches my
Wow.
kids, which is so amazing,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
But she's the one. She had such a technical background, and she was so determined
Right.
to give me as many opportunities, not just
Yeah.
me, like generations of
Right.
kids. She had
Sure.
a studio forever,
Yeah.
and to give so many generations of students opportunities and experiences and strong technique, that we weren't
Right.
just learning dances and perfecting those dances.
Right.
We were in technique class,
Right.
6,
Right.
7 days a week,
Yeah.
so that we could learn any dance and that we could
Yeah.
perform anywhere at
Yeah.
any time. And that was just such a gift. Edmund Cooper, who runs Hot Springs Children's Dance Theater Company here in Hot Springs, they are a classical ballet
Right.
school, but Eddie Cooper was my ballet
Yeah.
teacher, which
Yeah.
not most, but I have about 4 students
Right.
who take with Eddie and
Okay.
then take with me.
Yeah.
And so that's another kind of full
Right.
circle, because I
Right.
used to perform in his ballets.
Sure.
And he was probably the most devastated person when I got married and had kids,
Yeah.
because he was like, "No, you're not
Yeah.
done." And
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
"I'm not done, but my
Right.
my career's shifting because
Sure.
he
Yeah.
wanted me to go.
I honestly do not know with the ballet. I would think that would just kill your feet so bad.
Oh, yeah, my feet are ugly.
gosh.
They're
That's why
ugly.
you train.
Yeah.
You get
I
them.
know, but that's awesome.
They
That's
go
why
numb.
it's a gift.
You just
I mean,
build calluses
Yeah.
and they go numb. The only reason I had to have foot surgery was I had neuromas in my right foot, and so the nerves, my foot had been squeezed together by point shoes and high
Right.
heels.
oh yeah.
In dance, like on the cruise ships, you'd wear one or
Yeah.
two pairs of tights because of
Yeah.
underdressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so my foot was just being squeezed together, and
Yeah.
my left foot kind of needs to be done,
Right.
but we're just who
Yeah.
has time?
One at a who has time? Yeah.
There's no not show
Yeah.
season, and so
Yeah.
we're putting that off as long as possible.
Yeah.
And when you're not the show here, it's the show at home, right?
What I have a 7, a 6, and a 3-year-old. So
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah. The fun never stops, right?
Never.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Never.
because they're getting into their own things,
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
not
Yeah.
trying to push dance, but I'm
Right.
they're like, we want to come to dance camp. I'm like, all right, come on, boys. And
yeah,
so
exactly.
they're my boys at dance
Yeah.
camp,
Yeah.
and that's a whole other circus at home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
So did you go to school on a dance scholarship?
I did.
Okay, cool.
I got the same
Yeah.
scholarship that Eddie Cooper got
Right.
at Texas
Yeah.
Christian University.
Awesome. Yeah.
I was a Northern Fine Arts Scholar, and I was actually an alternate my first year.
Right.
And my parents, always supportive. I have the best support system in the world. That's
Right.
why I can do all of
Right.
this
Yeah.
because they're the ones picking up my kids
Yeah.
and,
Right,
and
right.
creating magic
Right.
for them at home.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? My in-laws and my parents they're the reason that we can have a dance program.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
we can, and
Right.
that I can be arts
Right.
coordinator.
Yeah.
But yeah, they I don't know, they gave me that love. I
Right.
think for experiences, and my mom is a teacher.
Right.
And so I think that
Yeah.
was really integral, I think.
Yeah, but don't you think that in the position you're in, though, I mean, you do build upon those relationships, whether it be at home or whatever, but the ability to hear a kid's dreams and be a part of, saying,
Yeah.
hey, absolutely you can do that.
So now I have the alum that came back to be our sugar plum.
Right.
She's on that same scholarship at
Okay.
TCU.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
they actually did an article on her because she's the 3rd generation Norton scholar. But
Right.
when I first went there, my parents are so supportive, but my dad really looked at me and was like, "Baby girl,
Yeah.
but what's our real
Yeah.
you're so smart, you're so
Yeah.
dedicated, you could be anything, you could be a
Right.
doctor and a lawyer,
Yeah.
And he just wanted me to have a life where I didn't have to work so hard my
Right.
whole life
Sure.
because he has worked his whole life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And with that, I told him, I said, Daddy, I think this program is going to train me to do everything.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And it did. It trained.
Yeah.
It didn't. They not only train you as a professional dancer, but as a choreographer, as a set designer, as a
Right.
lighting
Oh, wow,
designer.
yeah.
I was. I had to
Yeah.
learn how to do all the lights, the
Right.
sets, all the things like
Yeah.
that, and to be your own manager,
Yeah,
to
sure.
promote yourself.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yes.
and stand up for yourself, advocate
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the art form and for yourself,
Right.
but also learning to give back to the community
Yeah.
that raised you. I think
Sure.
that's so.
Yeah.
It's just so vital, but it's also so accessible.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what makes
Yeah.
art. That's what makes arts so
Oh, absolutely.
vital to communities. and
Yeah,
schools,
yeah,
you know?
and I think obviously it's woven into the center of what everything that goes on, and that's the thing I've noticed about Hot Springs. Honestly, is the fact that everybody seems to support one another.
Yeah, our community or our district.
Both.
Both.
Yeah, right.
It is. It's there's so many amazing people in our community that have let me bring. They say, oh, bring 10, 15
Right.
girls, and I'm like, okay, I could bring troop, the dance troop, but we could have a flash mob with 200 kids.
Right.
Are we up
Yeah.
for this? And
Yeah.
they're like, sure, let's do
Yeah.
it. So we've
Yeah.
we've done the Thriller flash mob
Yeah.
at Magic Springs.
Okay.
When they do
Yeah.
Magic Screams,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
that's so fun because I have
Yeah.
these 200 zombies
Right.
following me around. Okay, we're gonna do it here, and then we're gonna go down here,
That's
and it's
so cool.
it's
Right.
so special for them.
Sure. Oh,
To
absolutely.
see how our art form can
Right.
build connections and relationships, and then and we've done things like that with Arts in the Park with the Hot Springs Area Culture Alliance.
Right.
Every Arts in the Park, it's coming up in a
Yeah.
few weeks. We do a big flash
Right.
mob downtown,
Yeah.
and so that's something that they wear their dance shirt. They get to
Yeah.
go downtown, and then they. Because they have to perform there,
Right.
then they get out there and they stay out and they're like, oh, I could, and they find new connections and different
Yeah.
people, and
Yeah.
I think they get a feeling of what it feels like to be part of a community.
Right. Yeah.
I'm really, really purposeful when we talk about our dance family.
Right.
And I always post that it's HSSD Dance Family on our social media accounts and everything. And we talk about our dance family to get students to realize how vital they are to our family.
Right.
For us to all, because people don't pay money to come see me.
Sure.
Like they're coming
Right.
to see y'all.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you don't
Yep.
do the right
Yeah.
thing, then the
Yeah.
show will absolutely go on without you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So it's kind of like a catch-22
Yeah.
there, you know,
Yeah.
kind of there. I'm like, you are vital,
Yeah.
but we will go on without you if
Yeah.
you can't make good choices.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's, I think it does, I think the arts do the same thing that athletics do or clubs or office positions, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all about keeping the kids, giving them a place of belonging,
Right.
a safe place,
Right.
and holding expectations for
Yeah.
them.
Right.
We were here the Friday before spring break with the CTE. They had a,
Yeah.
I don't know what they called that, but
The career showcase.
Yes, the career showcase.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
showcase. But I mean, it was incredible there too of the kids, and I know of two instances. They said this, you know, the kids would talk and they would say, there was one in East for sure, but said, you know, before I found East, you know, I was that person sitting in the back corner, didn't say two words, that kind of stuff. But the more we come, the more we're exposed to over here.
Of course, yeah.
And but it was just kind of a cool thing, even with the ROTC, and you know, you could see they did a demonstration with drones, and this one young man, I mean, he nailed it, and you could see that pride puff up. Yeah.
Oh yeah. The pride, especially too when I got here, there were no costumes or shoes or anything,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
No expectation really for shows like, oh, that's nice if you want to do one. Now it's like
Right.
happy show day. Like
Oh, yeah.
everyone knows when it's
Yeah.
show week.
Right.
And not
Right.
because not just because I'm obnoxious and I I email everybody because I don't want any teacher to ever feel like what we're doing is not valuable.
Right,
And I'm not going to
absolutely.
take a kid out of
Yeah.
class unless
Right.
absolutely necessary.
Right.
So like for next week is our
Yeah.
show week. We're doing a spring show is Turning Through the Pages.
Okay.
So all the dances are inspired by books, speeches, or spoken words
Gotcha.
that they have studied in their classes.
Oh wow.
So a couple of them, like
Yeah.
they're in a multi-grade class, and so that we chose, like my MYP class is 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. So we
Right.
chose Amanda Gorman's "The Hill We Climb."
Okay.
Right.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh!
Yeah.
And the power that they feel,
Yeah.
they feel like you can see the confidence
Yeah.
and the empowerment they feel, not only
Right.
like as an individual, but as a group.
Right.
And
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
Right.
to build that kind of camaraderie is hard.
Yeah.
But when when we get to reach into the classrooms and really dig into what they're already talking about
Right.
in English
Yeah.
class or history class, you know, and then we get to talk about those themes and like,
Right.
okay, well, what does it feel like to be in survival? Like we're doing
Right.
a Hunger Games dance because
Oh,
they
yeah.
read that in 9th grade.
Right.
So like we take it down, and so
Right.
we pick 3 power words.
Yeah.
So theirs were poverty, grief, and survival.
Oh,
And so
wow.
then I tell them, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
go make a movement that is
Right.
for survival. And then so they go make it. Then go make a movement for grief. And so we
Right.
do that. Then we get into partners. Okay, put your movement with their movement. Okay,
Yeah.
and so, like feel how you do that. And then we
Right.
Wow.
together we
Wow.
make this huge this work
Yeah.
that it takes all of us, you know. And so by doing it that way, building dances, not just like this is the dance I want to
Right.
make,
Yeah.
y'all watch me, follow
Yeah.
me, do what I do.
Yeah.
It gives them ownership of it, and it's
Sure.
tapping into what they're already talking about in their other
Right.
classes, and
Yeah.
so they get excited about
That's
it.
amazing.
And hopefully, I don't really know, but hopefully their teachers get excited
Yeah.
that we're
Sure.
tapping into it
Yeah.
as well. And that's just one way we do it.
I think that's a cool idea. I mean, it brings relevance to a whole new level, really.
Right, because at the end of the day, we're here to educate the entire child.
Sure.
Right.
It's
Right.
not a
Yeah.
dance studio.
Yeah.
This
That's
is
right.
not my dance studio. This
Right.
is a dance program
Right.
that is here to teach.
Right.
Absolutely, we're going to teach technique,
Right.
discipline, the athleticism of
Right.
dance, of course.
Yeah.
But we're in a school,
Right.
and
Oh, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just as much my job to
Yeah.
teach,
For sure.
to help support those kids and to help them understand their English class
That is,
or anything.
that is it.
So-
That's
Love it.
I
It's really
love
cool.
that plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to mention this that Friday we were here. I bought a T-shirt, a Trojan T-shirt, because my mom's a graduate, like 57. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
And man, I moved up the favorite kid chart like that.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh my God!" She said, "I love this. I can't wait to show my 2 girlfriends that they go have lunch and stuff with." She said they're going to be so jealous because they all went to Hot Springs.
Yes,
So-
and that's like being in a alum, there's so many alum out there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm also on the traditions committee for the district, and so we were just talking about, I've had this kind of idea that I've been talking to some teachers about, of like recognizing our alum and seeing like where they are, what they've done with their life, and then bringing that back and celebrating that, and like what does that look like, and how can we do that? So I'm sure that's going to add to my calendar next year.
Oh yeah,
so beware for that.
Oh yeah, hey, that's okay. We'll shift gears here a little bit because we're winding down a little bit, but we try to have a few fun questions in there. Try to change them up a little bit, and some of these questions, I'll tell you, I stole them straight up. Okay, so like the first one I heard the other day was pretty interesting. Of the 5 senses,
I heard that.
Which of yours is the most powerful, do you think?
I definitely know which one's the least powerful. Do you want to hear that one?
Yeah.
It's my sense of smell. I have none.
Oh,
and it's actually a blessing. I did not know. Apparently, my studio reeks of feet and.
Was this a COVID thing or just?
No, I just.
Oh wow.
Never noticed. Yeah. I mean, but it's a blessing because, like, I just never noticed. But there's people, even, when an admin comes in to observe or another teacher comes by, they're like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
You don't.
The locker room
don't
funk.
Notice.
Do you even know the 5 senses, Derek?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know. I think.
Name them.
My strongest one is annoyance. It's basically the 6th one. It's Candace.
The 6th one?
Candace. I don't know if she's a sense. I don't know, but
it probably could.
She doesn't make a lot of sense. I can tell you that much. But no. But so the next one, being a dance teacher, you've got to have a ton of embarrassing moments.
Oh, one comes to mind.
Yeah.
But it's not when I was a teacher. It's when I was on cruise.
It doesn't matter. Hey.
All right.
All right.
I'm not scared.
Right. Yeah.
So I was dancing on, I think it was Royal Caribbean. I think I was on the Serenade of the Seas.
Right.
And there's a show called, it was a Broadway show. I can't remember the name of the show. But there's a part in there, and it's from Sweet Charity. And it's when, if you remember Shirley MacLaine, she...
Yeah.
Yep. And they're called... where you put your knees really high, rally runs.
Right.
And, after doing the same show for 8 months, you're like...
Yeah.
Okay, but it's the audience's first time to see it. So you have to find, as an artist, you have to find ways to reinvent it and challenge yourself without changing the choreography, right? Because that's my job. And so I was like, listen, I'm going to do the best rally runs that have ever been done this show. So I'm going to lean back and my legs are going to be up here like... Oh goodness. And so here I go, and I'm rally running across the stage, and in heels, of course. Yeah. And you have like a giant helmet on. I was pink. And so I fell. And rolled and got back up, and I can hear my roommate behind me, Chris from England. He is cracking up.
Right.
He is dying. He's like, And so I'm like, oh my gosh. So we get to the kick line section, and he is dying. And I'm like, shut up, Chris, shut up, And we're in my kick line, I fell again.
Oh wow.
No.
I fell again. Within like 30 seconds, I fell again. And I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
He died. Like he's like, oh my, like he's crying on stage.
Oh my gosh.
And the rest of the cruise, I think we were in the Caribbean, so it was like a 7 or 8 day cruise.
Right.
I hid. I was like, I'm not going upstairs at all. I'm so embarrassed.
Never live it down.
But listen, there were like 4 or 6 dancers, right?
Yeah.
We are all 5'4".
Right.
We are all dark haired and dark featured.
Right.
We all shaped the same. Like we all look alike.
Yeah.
I had a helmet on. They couldn't even see my hair. We have show makeup on. Nobody would have known which one of us it was, you know. But it was definitely me. And I hid the rest. It was like 3 more days of that cruise, and I was like, I'm not coming out. I'm so embarrassed. Like I can't believe I fell.
Was it like a combination? Because those shoes are, the soles are slick.
Yeah. Well, we can blame it on the shifting of the boat.
Right.
We can blame it on that, but I think it was just me trying to get my knees up, you know, because you got to have a strong core to be a cruise ship.
Well, but the thing is, you got back up, and hey, when you
Okay.
fall, that's the thing you got to do is selling it.
Listen,
you know,
I'm
that's part
impressed.
of that's part of the show. Right?
I can't even walk in
and
heels.
The best part, in the front of the stage, there was a lift.
Oh, wow.
So it was
Yeah.
going down.
Yeah.
And I almost rolled into the lift.
Oh, wow.
Because the floor seeps
Yeah.
down, you know.
Yeah.
And I almost rolled into that. And that would have been like another level.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Oh, no.
twice in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I was so embarrassed. And I thought, oh my God, I can't go out there. So I would eat. You never eat in the crew mess unless you have to. Like,
Right.
as dancers, we had the privilege
Yeah.
to go upstairs and
Sure.
eat with the
Right.
guests.
Right.
No, I was like, crew mess. I'm not going up there.
Yeah.
They're going to know it's me. And so it was terrible.
Yeah.
But, I tell my students stories like that because I want, especially because when they
Oh, yeah.
fall, I'm like, baby, you got to, when
Yeah.
you fall in
Shake it
life,
off.
what do you do?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got to get back
Yeah.
up. And
Exactly.
so, like, life lessons by dance, like,
Sure.
there's so many.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I need y'all to, when you fall, you have to train your body and brain to get up and
Right.
keep going.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like life will just keep going without you. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you say life lessons in dance. I go back to a time when I was at Lakeside as high school principal, and Channel 4, I think it was there. And of course, I was known for kind of goofing with the kids, and the camera's on, and they're like, hey, tell the principal to dance. And I'm like, no, we're on TV.
Yeah.
And dance, to say the word dance is losing it loosely.
Right.
Or using it loosely because it's on videotape forever out there. And so much so that, what's the guy's name? Matt Mosler. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
he ragged on me for the next month everywhere they went. Well, we were at Lakeside, and this guy thought he could dance and looked like Elaine from Seinfeld. And I was like, well, hey, that's awesome. So,
Yeah,
you know.
there you go.
We got
But-
to find this. We've got
Yeah.
to find this.
Anything for
Sure.
the kids.
I'm sure we
Anything-
can roll that
Anything for the
over.
kids.
Yeah.
So what about, childhood memory? What comes the quickest to you? Just a favorite one.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess this is fresh on my mind because don't tell my kids, but
Sure.
we're taking them to Disney World.
Oh, awesome.
And so
Good for you.
my
Yeah.
mom was a teacher and my dad
Yeah.
was in the military, so
Yeah.
he would go off on tours
Sure.
and then come back and just
Yeah.
and so we did not want for anything.
Right.
But I also I had to sweep the floors
Yeah.
and wash the mirrors, and my
Yeah.
mom made the costumes in
Right.
order for me to take dance.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I knew the value of a dollar. I was
Right.
one of 4 kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And they took us to Disney World 3 times.
Oh, that is
and
awesome.
I'm like, how did y'all do that?
Yeah.
How
Oh,
did
yeah.
you do that?
Yeah.
Like,
Scrape and
Exactly.
save.
well, and my mom she took a break from teaching for 20 years
Yeah.
to raise us 4 kids.
Right, right.
So when my little brother finally went to pre-K or
Yeah,
kindergarten,
right.
she went back to teaching
Yeah.
here in the district.
Yeah.
And so I just think back now looking and planning Disney, which it's more expensive now, but it's
Sure.
all
Still
relative.
then, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm like, how did we
Yeah.
Yeah.
do that? How did you do that? And so
Right.
they always made magic for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's awesome.
I didn't want for anything. We planned our family vacations around my dance competitions,
Yeah.
and bless
Yeah.
my other siblings for
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
going along with
Oh,
it,
yeah.
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 because
That's awesome.
Yeah.
bless them.
Well, and I guess we can end on this one, but I thought this was, again, another great question. But do you remember a comment that a teacher put on your report card at any stage?
Okay, so we have the IB program here, right?
Yeah.
And I was the second class of IB students when
Gotcha.
I was here, and
Yeah.
so it was very new. But I went to school at St. John's through 8th grade, and then I
Right.
came over here in the high school, and I didn't know we were advanced, but we
Right.
went right into the IB
Sure.
class, and we were like, oh, okay. And I had an IB teacher write once that I was too smart to be a dancer. And I thought, what does that
Yeah.
even mean? And I thought,
Exactly.
how dare you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how insulting
Yeah.
to such a world of artists that you don't even know about.
Right.
So that's always kind of stuck with me
Yeah.
because the Hot Springs Dance Troupe, their cumulative GPA is a 4.1.
Sure. Man,
Because
that's awesome.
these are, and it's not, and some of them maybe wouldn't have taken advanced classes.
Right.
Right.
If I wasn't there kind of,
Yeah.
Push-
or if
yeah.
mom and dad weren't
Right.
at home kind of pushing or,
Yeah.
whoever. But I think that is a comment that has really stuck with me because
Right.
you have to be so aware
Yeah.
of your surroundings. You
Mm-hmm.
have
Yeah.
to be so, you have to think about what you're going to do while you're doing something else.
Right.
Well,
and
in
just
the moment.
and just the work ethic.
Yeah,
too,
the work
for
ethic,
it.
the dedication. My
Yeah.
students are choreographers,
Right.
and they are brilliant. 7 of them. There were 11 finalists for the Arts Across Arkansas choreography competition,
Right.
and 7 of them are my students.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
and I only
That's-
nominated 7.
Right.
So
Yeah.
7 of the 11 are my students. They
Yeah.
compete this Saturday, and
Yeah.
I see them that they choose these complicated topics. They plan
Right.
plan their dances. They rehearse with their peers that
Right.
they're not doing their own dance.
Sure.
I make them teach their peers.
Yeah.
And that, and then they put it on stage, they make all the decisions about the costuming, the lights, every movement, how fast it is, what the energy is, like all of those details are all intentional, and they make those choices.
Right.
So I know that, am I too smart to be a dancer? Like, what does that even mean? So that's always kind of stuck with me.
But what I would say there too, I mean that to me that's another life lesson. You get a comment like that, and it just inspires you to say, hold
and
this.
Now, and I get to teach IB dance, and my average, like the students that take that course, they get 6s and 7s, which is the highest you can get.
Right.
And the world average is like a 4.
Yeah.
And my students' average is like a 6.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I know what we're doing here is so valuable, and it's so like it's on another level.
Even when I started in education, I had people say, hey, look, if you make a difference in one kid's life, what an incredible career. And of course, I mean, there's many throughout, but I can imagine with all that you guys have going on, the kids that you get to influence.
And we get to teach them for so long.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's another thing. Like I start teaching the language and the academic part of dance in 7th and 8th, 9th grade. And so by the time they're seniors, of course they get it. Like, of course they can write about it. Of course they can give evidence and back up what they're doing. And a lot of times we have to say, these dances do not reflect the views of Hot Springs School District, but are the artistic, academic, and nonviolent forms of expression.
That's awesome.
Because they love to talk about sensitive things. Because that's the world.
Well,
that's the world.
That's the world we live in.
And that's got to be really cool, though, to see them, coming in as a neophyte dancer, if you will, and watch them grow into award-winning dancers.
They get really tired of my voice. By the senior year, they're like, okay, Miss B.
Well,
I need a new teacher. And I'm like, yes, boo.
Before we get out of here, you want to promote anything coming up?
How did you know? I love shameless plugs. Well, I don't know when this will be aired.
Right.
But next Thursday, April 4th, is our Turning Through the Pages show.
Okay.
It is only $5 for those 5 and up. It is there are some sensitive dances. So little ones might not love it as much.
Right.
But we have another show for them. So that show is April 4th at 9:30 and 6 p.m.
Okay.
Then we have our Beauty and the Beast spring musical, which is 7th through 12th graders.
Right.
We've rented a big old set.
Yeah.
And those tickets as well will be on sale. They're on sale now. It is April 25th, 26th, and 27th.
Okay.
And so they can come see Beauty and the Beast. That is for all the younger audiences.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
And then in the fall, just look out for the Hot Cocoa Nutty Nutcracker, because that is our original twist on a classical ballet, the Nutcracker.
Right.
And it's fun. We
they're
have
all
Olaf in our snow scene, and
they're all presented right here, right?
Right here. So this is the Joyce L. Littleton Craft Auditorium.
Yeah. What an incredible facility.
Yeah, we have a whole arts wing that's behind and through the stage, and we are very blessed and supported here, and it's a beautiful thing because our students they benefit from it so much.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, thanks for taking the time.
Yes,
thank you.
Hey, I'm tired just get to her. I don't know about you.
You're tired after that ballet move, aren't you?
Yeah. Now, when we get off here, I'm going to have to ask about stretching to get it back, So, but we do appreciate you very much.
I've enjoyed it.
Well, we have that boys dance class.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, keep on keeping on.
All right.
You're doing great work.
Yes,
we appreciate
you are.
it very much.
Yes, you are.
Well, that'll wrap it up for this edition of Spilling the Tea in Studio D. I'm Darren Beckwith. We don't say it enough, and Candace Stringbean Bennett. So we appreciate all of our districts that allow us to come out, and it wouldn't be possible if we didn't get out and talk to our schools.
That's right.
So we appreciate it. So until next time, we'll see you.